Well, a Wyoming senator is now saying it'll pay to choose Circle over Tether under the US stablecoin proposal. And as I've been explaining for, at this point, years, USDC is going to be, if it not already is, the digital dollar of the US. It already has a direct line into the Federal Reserve. It is connected to multiple blockchains globally. And we're now even hearing that Binance has now moved over $1 billion into USDC for their SAFU or SAFE fund. It's kind of like insurance for their customers. We're going to be getting into that in just a few minutes. We're also going to be talking about Ripple choosing. I don't even know what else to say at this point. But Ripple is now choosing their own stablecoin path that's going to be a fiat-backed stablecoin. And they're literally doing exactly what Cardano is doing in terms of, instead of integrating with USDC alongside whatever they're trying to create, they're trying to just create their own siloed blockchain. XRP, Ripple, these are two separate entities. And the XRP army is continuing to cheer on XRP like it's going to pop at some point. But meanwhile, Ripple keeps selling. Ripple is not really necessarily forcing the use of XRP in their products yet. And now they're integrating a new stablecoin instead of integrating USDC. So, we got a lot to discuss in today's video. And we're also going to be talking about some of the Bitcoin mining companies. This is something that we've been talking about for a while. Now that we're post-halving, I think that it's extremely important that we understand where these Bitcoin mining companies are and where I believe they are going. We're also going to talk about the Chia Network and Zeta chain. We got a lot to discuss in today's video. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. We upload every single day of the year to bring you the latest happening in the financial world. And guess what? Crypto is not free, but thumbs up are always free. Now, Michael Saylor just posted this. He said, what if an investor with unlimited capital announced a program to acquire 450 Bitcoin daily at the market price for the next 4 years and hold the asset forever? Now, keep in mind, 450 Bitcoin is the new daily mining rate. So this is how many new Bitcoin are created every single day through mining. What if they increase their purchase to 675 Bitcoin daily in 2028 and 785.5 Bitcoin daily in 2032? Hashtag the Bitcoin halving. Now, what's very interesting that's going on right now is MicroStrategy, which I actually have pulled up in another window, is continuing to see all-time effectively record highs, right? We went up to basically about $2,000 just a few weeks ago in the middle of March. And basically, I said that was the local top. Probably not the all-time top forever, but it's definitely the local top. And we've seen a little bit of a downslope since then. But what's interesting is since February, right around this time where MicroStrategy's price was about to go much higher, this is when Michael Saylor started selling his shares in MicroStrategy. So he was selling, I don't know the exact number, but it's around $300 million, if not more at this point, because every day that you go and look at the sales of MicroStrategy, there's more that he sold. So effectively, he's selling his MicroStrategy shares over $300 million worth, and the price is basically doubling to all-time record highs while he's doing it. Maybe actually tripling, because it was at $600 or $700 before then. We went up to about $2,000. It's almost triple. How does that work? Who is buying all of these shares? Maybe it's BlackRock, maybe it's, I don't know. But I do think that we're going to go much lower. But what is Michael Saylor doing with all of this money? If you think that he's just sitting around saying, let's hold on to this cash, $300 million in cash. No, that's not what he's doing. He's going to be buying Bitcoin with it. And the way that he's kind of arbitraging this kind of play makes me think that there may be more to it. Maybe he is working with maybe investors or whoever to buy 450 Bitcoin per day. At the current prices around, I know we're a little bit above $60,000, but let's just say $60,000 to keep the numbers round. $60,000, and let's say 450 Bitcoin, that's $27 million per day times 365 days in the year. That's $10 billion per year for 4 years, right? So that's basically $40 billion. Now, I want you guys to think about this. JP Morgan makes about $40 billion a year in profit. Apple, I think they make about $100 billion in profit, and they're doing $90 million in stock buybacks. And these stock buybacks do help somewhat keep the price elevated or go higher, but it doesn't really do long-term growth for the company, right? When they do these stock buybacks. So, I mean, I think last year in 2023, Apple did $90 billion in stock buybacks. So what Michael Saylor is saying here is spending less than half of what Apple spent last year in stock buybacks, less than half, over the course of 4 years just buying Bitcoin. And effectively, you would be buying up all the newly mined Bitcoin in existence for this whole halving period. I mean, imagining what that is going to do, what that would do to the price, what would do to the supply-demand situation. I don't know. It's a very interesting concept to think about. I mean, because this is somewhat achievable at this point. I mean, just understanding one company does $100 billion in stock buybacks a year. So to think that somebody's going to do $10 billion in Bitcoin buys over the next a year for the next 4 years, it's not that out of the realm of possibility. Something to think about, guys. Something to think about. Anyway, we also just heard right before the halving, Binance completed a swap of all their Bitcoin and Binance for their SAFU assets to USDC. Now, as I explained the other day, in their announcement, they were going to be converting their SAFU fund, which is basically like an insurance fund for their customers, which had over $1 billion worth of coins in it. They were going to be transmitting all of that into USDC to keep this fund safe and secure for their customers. And so pulling up the transaction where they converted their Bitcoin, but effectively what they did was they sold Bitcoin, right? And so they sold about $1 billion worth. This is the transaction right here, about 16,276 Bitcoin. So again, as we were seeing the price going up as we were approaching the halving into about $65,000, $70,000, I believe this was the buy the rumor, sell the news event, right? Everyone keeps saying, oh, BlackRock and all of these Bitcoin ETFs keep buying. Over the last 2 weeks, most of the days have been net outflows out of the Bitcoin ETFs. Now, granted, there may be Michael Saylor's buying, there may be other countries buying Bitcoin, but I don't necessarily think that the amount of Bitcoin buying as we're going after the halving is going to be as much as we were seeing before the halving. I think there was a big rush in, and until the Federal Reserve starts quantitative easing or cutting rates, which may or may not happen in 2024, that's going to be the point that I think that the whole market is going to turn. But as I said at the beginning of this video, now the senators who are basically bringing up stablecoin bills, Senator Lummis is saying it'll pay to choose Circle over Tether. And so Cynthia Lummis said, let's say you're a consumer and you're not an expert in the details about specific stablecoin issuers. She argued such a person is likely to favor companies overseen by US regulators. She said, if it were me, I would choose Circle over Tether. Now, I agree. If you're a regular everyday person, this is what you want. You want access to the traditional financial system and decentralized financial ecosystem, but you want somewhat of protections, right? This idea that we're just going to have like a free currency, that this is ridiculous. It's really ridiculous. I mean, especially when you're talking about billions of dollars and you're talking about hedge funds holding money for people for when they retire. I mean, there's no way that these two ecosystems are going to merge unless you have a regulated ecosystem where the coins are protected, right? Where yeah, if your money is stolen in a hack, right? Let's say Coinbase has an issue, yeah, your funds can be recovered. It's not like, oh no, somebody's just running away with, billions and billions of dollars of customer funds. This is absolutely insane to think about, especially after we saw all these people losing money and basically effectively get bailed out by Wall Street after the FTX and BlockFi and Celsius and all of that. And again, this is about optionality. You don't have to use USDC. But like I've been explaining for literally years now on this channel, the blockchains that are not connected to USDC, and there are only a few that have no connections to it, these are not going to win in the medium term or the long term. It's impossible. And this includes And by the way, not just USDC or Tether, right? These are two major stable coins with immense liquidity and somewhat of oversight, right? There's oversight there, and there's companies that are making sure that the customer funds are protected, okay? And so Bitcoin has a connection to both crypto, to both stable coins. Ethereum has a connection to both stable coins. Binance, both stable coins. Solana, both stable coins. XRP, no stable coins. And we're going to come back to XRP in just a few minutes. Toncoin, I actually don't know anything about this crypto, so we're just going to pass over it. Dogecoin, connection to both cryptos. Cardano, no connection to any of the stable coins. And this is a huge situation for these cryptos, 2 of them in the top 10 that have no direct connection to either Tether or USDC. And, you know, there's a stablecoin bill that's going to be introduced. Now, whether it passes or not, who knows? But, you know, at the end of the day, yeah, there needs to be a regulated stablecoin in these ecosystems for developers, for venture capitalists, and for businesses to want to interact. And meanwhile, you know, like I said at the beginning of the video as well, you know, Ripple continues this path of siloed blockchain. This is one of the reasons I haven't reinvested in Cardano, because it's completely siloed. There's no interoperability, there's no bridges, there's no stable coins. And effectively, that equals no or little usage from the wider crypto and developer ecosystem. And XRP is in a similar situation. I actually think that there's no demand for XRP whatsoever, except for in the XRP army, right? These XRP holders with very heavy bags from previous cycles, because the new people who are entering the crypto space over the last 5 years, XRP has not even been part of the conversation. Ripple has been, but XRP hasn't. And Ripple has said for years, oh, well, eventually we'll onboard all of our users to XRP. And it's still not a reality, right? It's still not something that is required. And so where does XRP stand in all of this? I mean, from the lawsuit with the SEC, effectively, Ripple was saying, no, the XRP is completely different than Ripple. So they said it there. If you watch the escrow account of Ripple, they're continuing to sell XRP every single year since XRP started the escrow account. So they've been selling coins every single month, and they're not requiring usage of XRP for Ripple now. And there's no interoperability. And now they want to reinvent the wheel as well. They want to create their own stable coin. Now listen, a lot of these companies are creating these stable coins. I get it, because there's money to be made there, because, you know, you can earn interest on treasuries and other ways that you can back with fiat, but also make money. So I get that part, that they wanted some kind of income. But again, reinventing the wheel, creating more regulatory hurdles and more, it's going to cost them more money to create this. Where do you think they're getting the money for all of this? Probably from selling more XRP. And the XRP army keeps saying, well, this can't wait for the Ripple IPO. The Ripple IPO is going to push Ripple and XRP further than they've ever been. Because from a SEC standpoint, right, look at what MicroStrategy is doing. It's very different than what Ripple would be doing, even though XRP is deemed maybe not a security. Ripple as a company, now they would have a stock. So what would they need to deal with XRP for, right? I don't know. That's just kind of my viewpoint on it. But let's listen to what he says, Brad Garlinghouse, about their stablecoin that they're talking about creating. This was on Fox Business. Let's listen in. And by the way, don't forget to give this video a free thumbs up. We upload every single day, giving you the latest happening in the financial world, and I try to give you guys my unbiased opinion on the market. Nothing I say is financial advice. Do your own research. And by the way, guys, if you want to help support this channel, click the join button down below to become a channel member or learn more about it. Channel members, it's as little as $1.99 a month. It shows your support for this channel. And if you guys enjoy the content, think about becoming a channel member, or at least give the video a thumbs up. You can also super chat down below by clicking the heart in I think it's right underneath the video and also in the comments. Let's listen in.
I want to get your take on that, because you recently announced Ripple is launching a stablecoin later this year. You say this bridges the gap between traditional finance and cryptocurrency. Tell us how that will play out, why it's valuable, and give us the growth story for Ripple. Where does growth come from at your company in the coming 3 years?
So to start with that last piece, Ripple is about over 95% of our customers.
By the way, count how many times he mentions XRP.
for non-US financial institutions. We sell payment solutions, we sell custody solutions around blockchain and crypto. We're going to keep expanding, even though the US market, as we were talking about earlier, partly from a regulatory point of view, has been slow to adopt. The non-US market has been really, really strong for us. And you're
going to be the infrastructure around all of that.
That is our goal. And we think that opportunity is huge. We think that's going to be great for Ripple. We think it's going to be great for XRP, which is a digital asset we use. So I'm very, very optimistic about that. I just think that the US needs to figure it out.
And the stablecoin?
Oh, the stablecoin. So like, Ripple has always been about how do we bridge this new world with a traditional kind of, people call it TradFi, traditional finance. And Ripple has always been that bridge. We started around payments and we sell into banks. A stablecoin, the demand for stablecoins has exceeded, I think, what people thought. It's a $150 billion asset class right now. Some forecast it to be over $2-3 trillion in a few years. The players in that space, particularly one called Tether, is a non-US based entity. And the US, frankly, is kind of going after that because they want this to be regulated. Just yesterday, there's a new bill introduced in the Senate to create some stablecoin legislation, which I think is a positive step of like, hey, finally, we might get some forward momentum there. But I think that market's going to grow a lot. I think a US-based player who is compliance first has a great role to play.
It's a great.
Notice he didn't mention USDC. He just mentioned Tether. But he didn't mention XRP. He said that he thinks that it will be beneficial for XRP, which is the crypto they use. But besides Ripple, what other use cases does XRP have? Besides these specific situations that their customers choose XRP usage on RippleNet, what, like the on-demand liquidity, what other use case does it have? What other use case can it have, right? Because unlike Ethereum or Solana, there's no DeFi ecosystem built within Ripple. And I don't even know if there is going to be one. And again, there's no real cross-chain compatibility. There's no stable coins on XRP either. And so Ripple's kind of in this weird spot, I think very similar to Cardano, as we're entering this new cycle where, you know, they're kind of stretching a little bit, like, oh, let's go make our own stable coin. This is like, that is not going to do anything for XRP, bottom line, in my view. And by the way, why do you need a stable coin if you have XRP? If XRP is the ultimate currency, right, for this cross-border transactions and stuff like that, why do you need a stablecoin? I mean, effectively, XRP has been a stablecoin the last few years because the price has barely moved. I mean, let's look at the 5-year chart on this. I mean, this is not Cryptoviser just saying this. This is like the fact. If we look at post-halving last cycle we were at 25 cents around this time, 20 cents. Right now we're 50 cents, so we're double what we were last cycle. Many of these other coins are significantly higher what they were in the previous cycle. But anyway, it's just my opinions on the matter. We're now also hearing from JP Morgan's CEO Jamie Dimon saying smart contracts have value and blockchain works, but crypto as a currency for public decentralized currencies are Ponzi's. And so once again, Jamie Dimon is shilling Ethereum. Listen yourselves. Let's listen in.
Crypto.
If you mean crypto like Bitcoin, I've always said it's a fraud.
No hope for it.
Well, if they think they're a currency, there's no hope for it. It's a Ponzi scheme. It's a public decentralized Ponzi. If it's a crypto coin that can do something like, you know, a smart contract, that has value. There will be smart contracts, and blockchain works. So to the extent crypto is accessing certain blockchain things, yeah, that might have some value.
Effectively, he's saying JP Morgan coin has value because they use it, right? And it's blockchain. And effectively, we know JP Morgan is funding Consensus, which develops the Ethereum blockchain. They're the founders and developers of MetaMask, and Infura, critical infrastructure behind Ethereum, is actually owned and controlled and operated by JP Morgan. And so we know all of this. And so effectively, you're hearing Jamie Dimon effectively, so I keep saying effectively, he is shilling Ethereum's technology and also Polygon's technology. Because remember, the first transaction in DeFi that JP Morgan made was on the Polygon blockchain. Now, I have re-entered a position into Polygon. I do think that we're going to be going a little bit lower in the medium term. I don't know how low, but you know, when Ethereum starts to pop, I think that we're going to see Polygon pop as well. Now, if they do, that's a whole different story, whether they do or do not. But I think that as we start to see some of the value exiting Solana, remember, Solana bulls are also Ethereum bulls. And so value moves, right? A lot of the Solana maxis / Ethereum maxis believe that Ethereum has underperformed over the last 6 months compared to Solana, right? Ethereum has maybe gone 3 or 4x, where Solana has gone 10 or 20x. And so a lot of the maxis that own both, they've been selling for profit out of Solana and moving their money into Ethereum. That's what I think is going on. And I think the more of a drain we see in the market, I don't know how low it's going to go or for how long, but I think that as we see the drain in the market, and especially valuation coming out of Solana, because I think Solana is going to go under $100 at some point, we're going to have that deep correction. That money doesn't just disappear. The money is going to flow into other assets. And so the idea is to figure out what assets they're going to flow into and then pile in there before the money actually starts flowing, because that's when you're going to see the prices pop. And so I don't know when it's going to happen or if it's going to happen, but I would imagine that's kind of how it's going to play out. Solana is going to drain. We're going to see Ethereum related ecosystems like Polygon start to pop fairly significantly. Remember, the yearly low is around 50 cents with Polygon, and the yearly low with Ethereum, I think, is around $1,000, somewhere like that. So if we start to hit those numbers, these are, in my view, at least close to buying point as you're ever going to get, close to the bottom without actually knowing, because you don't know what you're at the bottom of the market or at the top of the market until after you already exited that either deep dip or deep pump in the markets. Anyway, in other news, we are now seeing more and more expansion of Bitcoin mining facilities. And now that we're post-halving, guys, I've been explaining for the last few weeks, I have been buying Bitcoin mining companies. Based on the analysis that I have done, and you can look at some of my Bitcoin mining videos here, they are the worst performing videos on my channel, and even though they have the best alpha in my view. Construction is underway at the Bao Kamau, site as Bitfarms embarks on a new build, advancing towards 11 megawatt expansion plan for the second half of 2024. And we're seeing a lot of these Bitcoin mining companies ramping up rapidly, raising money, ramping up, ordering equipment. And this narrative is going to, in my view, push Bitcoin mining companies significantly higher. Rob Chang, who is the chief executive officer and founder of Gryphon Mining, another company that we've been watching very closely, because Gryphon, compared to the other Bitcoin mining companies, is what I consider a micro cap stock, GRYP. This is under $100 million market cap, just around $50 million. And literally this is a fairly new company, keep in mind. I believe that they merged with a SPAC or something like that. But basically everything before 2024 from a stock perspective, I would not pay attention to. I would just pay attention to everything in 2024 go forward. And you can see we're at record lows and $54 million. But meanwhile, the CEO is saying the average cost to mine Bitcoin is now at $70,000. He's posted this right around the halving time, right? And the price was basically $65,000 to $70,000. He has said that this implies a over $140,000 Bitcoin cost on average after the halving, right? Because before the halving, the price of Bitcoin is $70,000 to mine it, but that's at 900 Bitcoin a day being mined. When you cut that in half, you have to double what the actual value needs to be to at least reach profitability. And so Gryphon mined Bitcoin in 2023 at $18,200, which is significantly lower. And keep in mind, according to Gryphon's documentation and public statements, they have stated that they are deemed 100% renewable energy. And so it obviously costs them a lot less. Now, I don't know exactly what kind of renewable. I would imagine hydroelectric power. Keep in mind, like if you're, at a river or at a, where there's fast flowing water, you could effectively set up equipment to harness that energy at a very, very low cost. So you can be effectively mining Bitcoin almost for free. I mean, $18,000 and everybody else is mining it at $70,000. It's a big difference. And so Gryphon continues to push ahead. And I think this is going to allow Gryphon Mining to have more money than a lot of these other mining companies who don't have that renewable energy and are paying higher energy costs. And potentially this is going to push Gryphon significantly further ahead much faster. I could be wrong on this, but Like I said, if you look at Riot Platforms, this is one of the largest Bitcoin mining companies in the United States, or I should say the world. Just from a market cap perspective, it's $2.25 billion market cap. Marathon Digital, another large Bitcoin miner, is $4.28 billion. So you got 4.2 billion, 2.6 billion, and then you have Gryphon Mining, which is 54 million. So just to reach where Marathon Digital is, you would have to see a 100x in Gryphon Mining. Now, whether Gryphon Mining is going to hit that, I don't know, because they would have to probably expand their operation fairly significantly. But keep in mind, they're using renewable energy. So they have that is a big benefit. Two, we're now post-halving. And again, like I explained, if you look at TradingView charts of Marathon Digital or Riot Platforms, the large Bitcoin miners that were around in the previous cycle, what you can see is after the halving, we basically just went straight up, right? The halving, you can see in June and July, Marathon Digital in the previous cycle, right? The previous, in 2020, the Bitcoin halving occurred in May. This year, 2024, it's happening in April. So in April of the 2020 cycle, this was at about 40 and 50 cents. After the halving, it went to 80 and 90 cents. And then it stayed around 70 cents, 90 cents, $1, $2. And then in August is when it just started basically going straight up until it reached peak at the end of 2021 at $76. So it effectively went from 50 cents pre-halving to $76 at the peak. So if you do the math on that, that's a 150x. 150x. Now, granted, let's say that's not going to exactly happen the same way this cycle. And let's say we just do half of that, from the market low to the market high. Okay, so the market low in Gryphon Mining right now is basically about $1.30-ish or something like that. Yeah, $1.24. Let's just do year to date and see. Yeah, $1.22 or $1.24. So let's do the math on this. So $1.22 times 75, which is half of what Marathon Digital did previous cycle from low to high, would be a 91.50 valuation. $91.50. And so if you put in, let's say $1,000, if you invested $1,000 into the stock, 75, you would have $75,000. Now, I'm not saying this is going to happen. I'm just doing math on the screen for you guys. So make sure you guys do your own research and don't make investment choices based on what I say. I could be wrong. These are just my opinions and strategies and thesis on the market. You have to do your own research so you understand the risks involved in your own investment thesis and strategy. But yeah, I mean, this is definitely an opportunity here, We also know Core Scientific just came out of bankruptcy earlier in the year. I told you guys I was going to monitor the stock. Well, now Core Scientific is under their post bankruptcy price. This is the lowest post bankruptcy price that we've seen. The stock was reissued somewhere in February, right around this little dip here. So everything after the dip is what I count as post bankruptcy. And so the lowest we went was about $3, and now we are significantly lower than $3. We're at about $2.90. We went down to about $2.70. Could we go lower? Absolutely. Keep in mind, April, and I think May as well, some of the creditors were going to have their shares unlocked. And so that basically gives these creditors access to new shares that they can sell in the market. It's kind of like an unlock in the crypto space. Now, whether they actually sold or not, I don't know, but I would imagine because of the unlock is why we saw the price going down. Because if the market cap stays the same and more supply of the shares, or in crypto, more coins are released, that will make the price go down, because the circulating supply of the stock or the circulating supply of the crypto is what determines the market cap. So it's definitely another company that I'm looking at. Core Scientific set to boost their Texas mining facility by 72 megawatts. This was right before the Bitcoin halving. The project was scheduled for completion by the end of the second quarter. The expansion aims to augment the company's existing hash power capacity. And so this could be very positive for Core Scientific as well. And meanwhile, internet computer is now able to read and write Bitcoin ordinals directly on the Bitcoin blockchain through a new technology that has been implemented called threshold schnorr integration. And this will enable enhanced Bitcoin compatibility from the internet computer to Bitcoin and include the Runes token, which is basically an NFT project. With the Bitcoin halving and Runes protocol launch taking place, Dfinity is continuing the internet computer's embrace of the Bitcoin ecosystem by adding support for etching Rune tokens and other Bitcoin-centric functionality, according to the company, wading into an increasingly crowded pool of developers preparing for the launch of Runes. Dfinity, the company behind the major blockchain development in internet computer, Bitcoin Layer 0 upgrade makes it possible to etch Runes, send and receive BRC20 tokens on the Bitcoin blockchain, and create Bitcoin DeFi applications. They said the threshold schnorr integration is primarily about functionality and efficiency. They added that it's simpler than ECDSA, the existing Bitcoin signature scheme, also known as key signature or chain key fusion, and hence much easier to analyze and say meaningful things about security for the chain. Now we know Dfinity and internet computer, these are huge bullish positions in my view. I have been trading internet computer through the volatility, but I do plan on holding a large quantity as we kind of enter this post-halving cycle. I do think that we're going to see some kind of dip. Maybe we were already seeing the dip. That's definitely possible as well. We may have to kind of realign our strategy if we go into May and we continue to see upward movement in the market. Because remember, the trend is your friend. And in my view, being able to change your investment decisions and opinions on when to move into and out of positions in the market is super important. And granted, today I may want to be all in Bitcoin and tomorrow I may want to all be in USD. That's how investors invest. The money flows and the money moves. We don't just hold and just pray and hope and everything's going to be all right. I know a lot of ecosystems believe that, but this is a new cycle in 2024 and we're moving ahead as we're unfortunately having to leave behind. But one chain that we're not leaving behind because it's a newer chain and they basically launch with so much technology. It's truly, it's inspiring to see because a lot of chains keep promising shit and they're not able to deliver. I don't know whether it's not they're able to or they just don't, but either way, the delivery is terrible. Meanwhile, Zeta chain, which just launched recently, is the first omni-chain blockchain for chain abstraction, an EVM smart contract layer that brings interoperability to any chain, including the Bitcoin network, similar to what we just heard with internet computer. Deploy your code once and future-proof your applications. Access all of crypto from one chain. And you can see here they're at Ethereum Seoul conference. You can see the Zeta chain team explaining to the participants what the EVM compatibility looks like. It says building on Zeta chain is easy, scalable, and game-changing, and easy to get started and ship your first product. You can see this other screen where they talk about building anything with Zeta chain. The only limit is your imagination, but build once and deploy. And your dApp works seamlessly across blockchains, including non-smart contract chains like Bitcoin and Dogecoin. And so they're doing a lot of things very similar to what we're seeing internet computer do. And again, many other blockchains still don't have interoperability. We just talked about XRP. We talked about Cardano. These have no interoperability. And meanwhile, you have full chains that you could just build on Zeta chain and deploy everywhere. So why do you need these chains that can't do very basic things from a smart contract to interoperability to bridgeability? I mean, in my view, this is 2024, guys. And there's still people like, oh, well, we're still working on it. It's like, how the F are you still working on interoperability when you have a brand new blockchain like Zeta chain, which nobody's really paying attention to outside of the Ethereum ecosystem? And it can do everything that every blockchain from every other cycle is trying to still solve for, right? New cycle, new thesis, new strategy, and new ideas. And that is how we win. Meanwhile, we're now hearing that the Chia Network makes progress towards an IPO. Chia Network, which uses a novel consensus mechanism for running its blockchain, made progress towards getting its stock approved through an IPO. The company filed an S1 with the SEC at the end of March after the regulators sent a comment letter to the company, according to the CEO. The company has no firm timeline for the IPO since the company wants to wait for the right market conditions, according to the CEO. Chia revealed last year in 2023 that it wanted to go public, though its IPO plans took a detour because of financial distress at Credit Suisse, their underwriter. And then that led to Chia Network laying off a third of their staff in October of 2023. Now, it was founded by the inventor of BitTorrent peer-to-peer file sharing. Unlike Bitcoin, which uses proof of work, and Ethereum, which uses proof of stake, Chia uses proof of space and proof of time, which in short involves the allocation of computer storage on machines around the world. Similar to what Storage J, similar to Filecoin, similar to Internet Computer. But, they're going for an IPO, very, very different strategy than what we're seeing in a lot of other ecosystems. Now, they're saying they're waiting for the right time to deploy an IPO. When is the right time? It's probably going to be early 2021. That's when Coinbase did it. 2025, which was basically the same time that Coinbase did it in the cycle in 2021. They did it right before the peak in the cycle. And that's typically when you're going to see a lot of IPOs launching, a lot of new cryptos launching and stuff like that, just to kind of get in on the hype cycle of crypto. But as you guys know, the further we get in the bull market, the more nervous I'm going to be about starting to invest in new companies and new cryptos. Is there opportunity to make money? Absolutely. There's also a lot of opportunity to lose it. And so that's what we're trying to do, protect our investments, protect our futures, and look for the right opportunities in the right cryptos at the right times. I hope you guys are doing well. Enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give the video a free thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Invest responsibly and crypto on.